Hey, what's up? So I will talk about migrations in TypeORM, but before this, or I will show you how we can use migrations in TypeORM. But before this, I will tell you why it's useful. So the main reason, as far as I know, is it will provide us something that will be similar to source control to our SQL script, or you can say to the script that have been run to produce the current version of the database. So first time when you write your model, you will create a migration. Then you will run the migration to the database, which will run each script for each table, and create the relations and create whatever your model represents, your models represents, and will put them in the database. So maybe after a month you will modify a couple of columns. Maybe you will introduce another model. So instead of just passing through to synchronize and everything will be dropped and rebuilt again, you will create a migration, and the migration will put everything into the table again, into the database again, and like this you will have a history of what the tables or what the database used to look like in a specific date. So we have 5 migrations, which means we have 5 versions of our database. Each time we introduce some changes, and that's basically it. And another thing, in production, when you will introduce a new table, you want to drop anything, right? You want to drop the whole database and rebuild it again, because it's have some live data. What you will do, you will run migration, and this migration will modify some column or generate new columns and tables, or maybe add new tables with the relations, and you will tell TypeORM CLI to run that migration, and it will put it in your database. So this is like a small introduction about it. So I mentioned TypeORM CLI. It's a tool that TypeORM provides. In their documentation, they will tell you to install it globally, but there is different way that we can run it from the package.json, from the node modules, which is the way I prefer it. As you can see, we already installed TypeORM, and inside of it TypeORM CLI is there, because at the end it's just a script that will run a couple of things. So let me just show it to you really fast. So we have here TypeORM. I think we will have the CLI somewhere. Yeah, that's the CLI code. So this is just the CLI code. Of course, it's using a lot of things. You can go through the code. It's really interesting, but that's it. So to start using the CLI, as I already showed you, we did install this as a dev dependencies, right? To use it from the node module, we installed it, and this is it, the TS node, and it's already in our node modules. But to use it from npm for this project, you will put some text in the script object in this JSON, in the package.json. So TS node will run TS node. So to be specific, npm run TS node will run TS node from node modules. So to run anything from the TypeORM CLI, what I will do, and this is completely from the documentation, I will give you a link in the description. It won't be useful if I just put it in front of you now. I will just type some things and explain along the way. Okay. I think I lost the link, but I will try to find it. Let me just show you. I'm sorry. TypeORM using CLI. I think this will using CLI. Yes, so this is the Git book. So as you can see, this is installing the CLI. Some people will install it globally. I don't want this. I actually like to use it just from the bucket, from the node modules. So as you can see, they will put this in the script. So let me just type it really fast. So add a comma. Now TypeORM. So when you type npm run TypeORM, this will run node, and this will now put hyphen. This will require TS node register. Now from node modules, go to TypeORM, go to CLI.JavaScript. This uses Node to compile, this uses TS Node to compile the TypeScript migrations. So migrations will be generated in TypeScript, but the CLI only understand JavaScript. So this way, as far as I understood, maybe I understood it wrongly, this will convert this will convert everything to JavaScript alongside using TypeORM CLI. So the output file, the input files will be in JavaScript. This is how I understood it. Maybe I'm wrong, but this is what the docs tells you to add. I can just, so as you can see, I just search for it. This is it here. Now the second thing that we need to do, I'm not sure if this is in the migration. I faced some errors, but I found it at the end. Or you can actually skip it, but this is what I will do. So TypeORM or hyphen. But I'm not sure what this is called. I think colon, but these two dots on top of each other. Migrate. This is to run them. This is to generate the migration. So npm run. I will run this command above, and it will be migration. Then two dots generate, and you need to pass a name for this migration. By default, it will be the current date time, then hyphen, then a name you specify. So to give it a name, you will pass dash n or hyphen n and give it now a name, anything you want. So, but in our case, it will be npm run TypeORM migrate. Now we will give it a name like this. This is how we will run it. Okay, but this dash n will go to the current script you are running, which is this run, and which is this run. So to pass it to the TypeORM CLI, you will put two hyphens, then put dash n. This is will pass it to TypeORM, not to the run script. You can actually try and run it without this. It will tell you that TypeORM CLI will tell you that the parameter n is missing. This is how to fix it. To tell the npm run to pass these command, everything after the two hyphens, to TypeORM CLI. So final thing, TypeORM then run. This will be equal to npm run TypeORM migration run. This will run all the migrations we have, and that's it. You can actually just type this and this, but yeah, I will just put it like this, just as a shortcut. Now I will create an ORM config.json next to our package.json. So the CLI will read the connection string from here. Actually, there is so many ways you can create a connection with TypeORM, or there is so many. They are called something. Yeah, I was opening this here. This is the configuration sources. We have JSON, we have JavaScript, we have environment variables. I actually prefer the environment variables. We have YML files, maybe for Docker, I'm not sure. You have XML. You have so many options. I prefer, in my opinion, the .env, but just to make things faster, I will use this ORM config.json. The CLI will read the connection from here, and it's the same thing we have in our app.ts. It's almost the same thing as this. Okay, so make sure in your production maybe make them the same, maybe using environment variables, which I think is really recommended. So type will be SQLite. Database, it will be just what I put here, the same stuff, nothing changes. Of course, I'll remove these single quotes. Now we will have entities, right? So let's grab this, but to add these, we can't referencing classes in JSON, right? It's not a data type there. You will put a path or array that contains a multiple path. My path will be / this folder name, which is entities, the same one, the same string, Then anything that end with, this is one of the reasons why it's really awesome to add these suffix to specific things. So anything ends with entity, the TypeScript go inside of it and look for entities. These are entities. Okay. Last thing, our migrations will be in the current directory. Go to migrations, and anything there that end, anything that end with TypeScript, and this is our ORM config to JSON. Just simple basic. So I think the first thing we will do is to look to look to our package.json. So let's just run TypeORM migrate. So npm run TypeORM migrate, and this needs or I think we would give it a name here, maybe init, then -- help, or actually maybe like this. I'm confused. Sorry, let's see what this will give us. Okay, maybe I did something wrong. So npm run TypeORM migration to generate, run TypeORM migrate dash, or I think I would give it now the name, right? Yeah, this is the original command. Yeah, okay, so nice. This is our first, as you can see, migration. So it has this create users, create post category. They will create everything for us. This is the down. This is when you will drop a specific migration. So now I will just delete it, because this is I wanted everything, every migration, sorry, to be in the migrations folder, right? So what you will do, you can pass actually help, just to see some options. Let's just run it, and migration, I will run the original command -- help, just to see some, or I think like this, TypeORM and npm run. I just wanted to show you how to get the help command running, so you can see what you can do. Migrate. I think what we can do just to see it, TypeORM test, this will be equal to TypeORM like this. Now npm run TypeORM help. Oh, oopsie, sorry, I didn't save it, my bad. Why? Okay, yeah, sorry, my bad. I'm so okay. So -- to pass the current flags to the TypeORM CLI, not to the npm run command. So -- then help, or -h. Okay, I think that, yeah, they already were telling us what to do. But yeah, so we have run to run a specific migration, show to show all the migrations and whether they have been run or not. Revert version, we have init, generates initial TypeORM project structure. Actually, the ORM, that the CLI that they have is really interesting. So I highly recommend that you read it. We have entity create, subscriber create, which is very interesting stuff. Maybe, yeah, the entity is fine. But what I wanted to show you is, after we do this, I wanted, so migration generate. Now I will pass h to the migration generate, and this will give us that directory. So we have this -d, which is specify where the output should be. So I want to add the output to the migrations folder, just like I said here. I'm sorry if this is confusing. I'm sorry, but I hope this was clear. So maybe the part that was confusing, that me doing this, I think what you can do is, maybe if this does not make sense, so npm run this, maybe like this now. Yeah, sorry, yeah, that's what you should have run. Npm run TypeORM migrate -- to pass the -h to the migrate command, which is this one here. So my bad, sorry. These things are a little bit confusing for me as well, especially with this -- Maybe if you install TypeORM CLI globally, this will be easier. But yeah, this just return where we were. So now I will call this the initial migrations, like this here. So migrate, then init. This is the name, as you can see, because I'm passing it after the -n. So now -d, which is the directory, will be migrations. So everything should be fine. Now we should see the migrations folder. Oh, sorry, my bad. -d, then migrations. Let me delete this. Like this. Yeah, this should work. Yeah, we have now a migrations folder. If you look at the first migration, so this is the date time, -- our name, the name we choose. You can actually read the description or read the queries to make sure that TypeORM is doing exactly what you wanted. It's really interesting. So let's just run it. So look at our package.json. So npm run TypeORM dots, 2 dots, then run, which is this command. This will run all the migrations, and if one of them is exist, or one of them have been run, it won't run it again. Okay, I think I typed it wrong. It's migration run, but yeah, migrations run will still work, but it's deprecated. So if you run it again, remember we already run it, but let's run it again and see the output. So it won't do any other migration. So let's see why, or how did it, or how the TypeORM migrations knew that we already ran this migration. So let's go to open database, choose this one. So let's expand. You will see all our tables. I hope you still remember these, but these are our entities that we have. And if you see, you will see this table migration. It have ID, timestamp, and varchar. So let's look at the tables, or that column, sorry. So we have the timestamp. It's actually the same one as the first part of the name. Then the name is here. So init is the name we choose. Now the timestamp. So this is how it know that this migration have been run. Now let's try to generate another migration. I will call it test. Also in our migrations. So you will notice something interesting. If I did everything correctly, I think, yeah, you will notice something interesting, that we cannot generate migration. To create a new empty migration, use this command. they cannot create a migration because there is no changes. So it's really smart. I think it will, if I understood everything correctly, it will generate a migration and compare it with the, I think, the previous migration. If they are that's just the same, it won't do anything. That's how it know. So let's try to change something. Let's scroll to our entities. Let's add something like anything. Just like add any column. So let's see. So it will be random, whatever. Yeah. So column, just leave it like this. Now let's run our migration. Or I think I won't name it test. Sorry. I'll name it adding. So added column random to users. And this is actually the main idea behind migrations, just to document every change you do. So as you can see, and let's just look, it will alter the table users. You can actually read the queries, they are interesting how they do it. As you can see, they create this temporary user, but yeah, you can just read it. Now let's run the migration. It will only run this one. And let's go and check our database again. So refresh a couple of times. Look at our migration. We should see 2 migrations. Sometimes it's stuck, but let's run it again. Come on. Anyway, you can go to the users. You will see that we have this random varchar, which means it's fine. I think if I typed show table, maybe, but I can assure you that this exists. But yeah, let's just select. I'm sorry, it's just sometimes it's buggy, but you can actually see that it have been run. Yeah, anyway, but yeah, it's have been run. You can actually see it if you are using any type of database, or maybe SQLite, maybe use dbeaver to connect to it. But yeah, that's it. I hope this was useful. I think it's very interesting, and you should always use migrations. Always use migrations. Don't forget this. It will save your life. And another thing, I should showed you this in the beginning. If you go to our app.ts, put this to false. Don't put it to true. Actually, to be more careful, this should be an environment variable inside our environment file. On production, this always should be false. This maybe will be the is dev mode, something like this, and this should always be false in production. So no debugger logs, no dropping tables, nothing dangerous. So I hope this was useful, and thank you.